Thank you so much for doing this. A variety of routes we can go. Did you watch last night's game, Greeny, and think like, where the fuck was that Leafs team when we played them in the first round? Be honest, please.
To be honest, I didn't watch the game. I caught the last
Good.
10 minutes. I was out on the golf course.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, he was just setting the tone for the Leafs that'll be hitting that course on Monday. the way that they're playing. When you're in pressure cooker situations, obviously you look to the big boys, you look to your top tier guys, but obviously this sport, especially collective team group effort. When you're in those pressure moments, is there somebody that you want to lean on most, or are you looking at multiple individuals to kind of get you out of a rut or take you to another level?
I think it depends really on your team, how your team's built. I think certain teams have certain individuals that take control of games, and but certain teams are built a little bit more throughout a team mentality. But I think ultimately in playoff hockey, man, you need everyone. You need everyone going. A good example is last night, the Vegas Edmonton game. No one scores, Kapanen gets the OT winner. And even though, he's the hero, but it was a real team effort.
As a coach, how do you handle a shit show like that where it's like a tough night at the office, no bounces, the team just has no jam? Like, how do you handle that? Do you have to pick your spots, or is the season's on the line now? It's a bit different, I guess, too.
It is for sure. I like the way Chief spoke after the game. Not hiding the fact that they didn't have a good game, but it happens. And the biggest thing for Chief now is just to get his team ready to play next game.
And how important is that, be it in a situation that happened last night or a regular season game or whatnot? How important is it from your playing days to getting that honesty and that transparency from the coach to now being behind the bench again and trying to relay that same message? How do you find that balance, and how do you find guys appreciate that level of transparency from the head coach in those situations?
Each coach is different. And for me personally, that starts in the regular season. You don't just all of a sudden start being honest with your team and in the playoffs. It's a bit of a built relationship. The sooner they can get over that game, the better, because you don't have a lot of time to turn around and get ready to play the next game.
Greeny, I was really impressed with the way you handled the media. I wanted to ask you, like Pat Quinn, did he ever come to mind coaching in that series, the Battle of Ontario? How much did you learn from him as a coach?
Well, I mean, you learn a lot from every coach. Obviously, Pat, you're talking about a Hall of Fame coach. I was lucky to have a lot of coaches, being a player that was on the move a lot. I feel fortunate that I got to play under a lot of great coaches. So, but you still got to find your own way. And again, it comes back to that relationship building that you've done throughout the whole season, and being able to navigate your team through a playoff series.
You touched on the team effort and needing to have the other guys contributing, and you referenced Kapanen's goal for the Oilers that sent them to the conference final in the West. Is there, obviously your big boys are your big boys, and in Toronto it's the consistent core four reference. Is too much pressure put on them and not on a full team environment? How do you assess it from that outside perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the Maple Leafs when I'm not inside there, but it's no secret that you've heard about the core four for a long time now, and they're very lucky that they have four great players like that. And you could probably add a guy or two. So when you're a good player, pressure comes with it, much like any team in the league, and that's part of pro sport.
Now that you've had a chance to decompress and look back, I mean, what was your general overview of the first round series of the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, it still stings, to be honest. I look back at Coach over my time of coaching, as much as you love winning, whenever you lose, I go back to the Vegas series with Vancouver when we went to 7 games. Uh,
Yeah.
we lost 1-0. They scored with 6 minutes left. I almost feel like maybe I was a little more upset after the Leafs series. I felt like Vegas played better than us, and they deserved to win. And I thought the Leafs series was very close, and could have gone either way. And that's the hard part of playoff hockey, and that's learning experience for ourselves, for our players, for our coaching staff. But it leaves a mark when you want to win so badly that you can taste it, and it still stings.
Well, and that's a taste that, especially for the younger guys, that you want to kind of remind yourself of so that you don't have to taste that again, right? Like you get past it and you go through your off season and you prep for next year, but you remember and you have that, you bring that little chip on your shoulder with you. And you guys added a player that has that jam ahead of the deadline, and he played well, Dylan Cousins, throughout the later part of the season into playoffs.
Yeah.
To have that kind of player there that has that extra jam, that has the offensive capabilities, but then now has that taste of that bad taste in his mouth, but can use that and harness that. How important is it to have for a kind of guy like that?
Well, it's important not only for Dylan, but for the rest of our team. We still haven't had final year-end meetings. I wanted to really take our time. A lot of teams do it right after the season, 2 or 3 days. I told our guys, let's wait a couple of weeks so it can sink in. But you make the playoffs, you haven't made it for a long time. Our players their motivation level has to stay high. For us to come back and do better than we did last year, have a better season, our guys are going to have to start to work, not just when training camp comes, but they got to come back better players. I thought they did a good job of that last year, and Dylan's one of probably quite a few guys that I see can improve their game, and that improvement starts right now in the offseason.
Greeny, as a hockey fan and as a Leafs fan, it was pretty damn cool to see the Battle of Ontario back. You've now been on both sides. What was that experience like being on the Ottawa side now?
Well, it's definitely a little bit different from a coach's standpoint. As far as your emotional control, as a player, you get to let it all kind of hang out there and roll with it. But and it's a different era. Hockey's changed a lot since then, and it's not quite as crazy as it used to be. But it was really something. How loud both buildings were. The Ottawa building how loud it was crazy. And even trying to talk to your team or call lines out, obviously there was a lot of matching up going. And it was great. It was a great experience that way. It's hard to say great when you lose, but that Battle of Ontario is special.
Yeah, building blocks, right?
For
First step, go from there, and then just from a fan base, side of things with the Sens fans, showing that those types of emotions and the loud and the craziness of that rink compared to the inconsistency of Scotia, you probably noticed a bit of a difference, right?
I think when you're playing, when you're on, or coaching, you always feel like your home side is a little bit louder, but you try not to listen as much when you're on the road.
Right.
But
Fair.
it's a different crowd. Both buildings are a little bit different. We're used to having a lot of Leafs fans in our building, and I felt like our fans did a great job of, I guess, buying all the tickets. Like you really didn't notice it at all, and it was deafening in there. It was loud.
Yeah.
It was awesome to watch.
It's a good PC answer. I'll answer for you. Yeah, the crowd in Ottawa way fucking louder, boys. I'll just put it out there. I mean, you experienced Scotiabank Arena in the 2000s. Guys were hacking hacking darts in the stands. Like it's just so different. The phone era. I hate going to games at Scotiabank Arena. I really do. There's just no intensity, no buzz. And Greeny, can players feed off that when you're playing, like even coaching and the crowd's roaring for you guys? I think they can.
I do too.
Yeah.
Man, you remember when? Well, even now, you go into Vegas's building. Like that's
Right.
the one building that I go out for warm up, just to hear the bass.
You gel your hair back too, or what?
So a little extra.
Yeah.
Have the buttons undone on the dress shirt.
Yeah.
All right,
Veteran
Grady.
move.
A
Yeah.
lot of fun, man. This has been great reconnecting with you. I really, really appreciate you doing this. Regardless of the circumstances. Thank you so much. So what's the next few weeks look like for you? I've always wondered. So the season concludes. What's that process look like for a head coach?
Yeah, it's your engine runs hot for 9 months, whatever it is, leading when training camp starts. And I've learned over the years that it's really important to just decompress for a while. You're so programmed to get up and start working on your team, working on your game. And I've told our coaching staff to get away. We'll meet in 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, and get back at it.
The tan looks good, my friend. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
See ya. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Roseau. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.